let's talk about accomplishments. The YouTube plaque, over 100,000 subscribers. I remember setting a goal that I wanted to get that plaque. And I told everyone in my team, we gonna make that happen by any means. And I put in the pain with everybody else to make that happen. And it was just, yo, we doing 2, 3 skits, through YouTube skits. So we gonna tell people to subscribe. We gonna do every effort that it took to make it happen, and we completed that. Now it goes back to rewinding with what you just asked me. The same thing happened to me being 30 and quote unquote retiring, not having a 9 to 5.
Right.
I put in the pain. I connected with the right people. I put in the amount of content needed. I invested in the areas that I had to, cameras, the marketing, everything to connect the dots and make it happen. It felt like, okay, we separated, but I wasn't gonna let this brand die. It would by any means necessary. If it was gonna die, it's gonna die with me. Like God would have to call my number for this to like die down. So, and I've always had that passion with anything that I do. Like once I'm like passionate about something, I'm gonna go all the way, 1,000%. No matter, I don't care about whether the results are not, showing up at fast enough, or I might have a down day now, but we're still gonna keep making this happen. Like you could laugh at me, you could downplay it all you want, but I'm gonna take that fuel of whatever is being thrown at me negatively, and I'm gonna turn that positive, and I'm gonna show y'all this is gonna work.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm coming. I'm coming right now. Come on in, huh?
Truly, truly honored and blessed to spend and invest time with these guests. But most importantly, spend time and invest time with you too. If you don't know who I am, I'm Rob De La Rosa, the bald-headed Dominican from the Bronx. And all you gotta do to help me, help you, is like, comment, subscribe. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of In the Living Room podcast where we learn, laugh, and heal. And today we have another special episode. And I know I've said that a couple times, but just test what I'm saying. Go back 3-4 episodes and see if these things have not been special in some type of way. I'm just honored and blessed to have these incredible guests be on the show. And if you like what you see, subscribe right now. Stop and do it now. Do it now because what he's about to give us is something that's just going to be completely valuable. And it's only right to do. Because what it cost you? A patalito sometimes, maybe. But at the end of the day, it's something we could do because it supports the channel. And because of your support, I've been able to attract people like the guests we have today and those that we have in the past. So I appreciate y'all. But today is not about me. Today is about the man who's been dominating the space. You've seen him everywhere. You've probably seen him on MySpace. You've probably seen him on Vine. You definitely see him on YouTube today, your social media platforms today. AJTV, No Entiendo show. The man is doing a lot, representing caramel skin. You already know what time it is. Clap it up for this gentleman one time. First and foremost, my brother, thank you for being here, JR. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, man. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Sure, bro. I mean, I'm gonna let you know something right now. The magic happened before the cameras was rolling. We started earlier. This is the greatest person to have this conversation with about post-production and pre-production. We started rolling, and the camera stopped when we just started going. And the patience you have to still sit here and say, you know what, we good, bro. Let's rock and roll. I want to first say appreciate your patience, brother, because
We here, man.
you over more understand this process, bro.
We got to get shit done by any means necessary.
So before we get into what you've been doing currently now, I kind of want people to know who is JR.
Well, JR's, y'all seen me. I'm a very funny, outgoing guy who just is all over social media making the world laugh. And, under the brand AJTV, got a couple other brands that we're gonna speak of even further, and it's just been comedy since what 2011 officially. You know what I'm saying, on a mainstream platform, and we're here, man. You know.
So yeah, bro, let me first say I appreciate your level of consistency because doing my research on you, I'm like, one, we found out that we've been around each other, right? Like I interviewed some of our mutual friends and stuff like that and heard of you and seen you before. You know, Bob, shout out to my man Casper. I haven't seen him in a minute, by the way. But nonetheless, starting to do content, was that something that you, since it's 11 years ago, is that something you always wanted to do? Like, what gave you that knack to be like, you know what, I want to be in front of a camera and make people laugh?
Well, basically, it all started with the whole me watching actors in movies or me watching TV shows, sitcoms, and stuff, and I'm like, hey, man, like I want to do this one day. And I've always been the type of person that I've always wanted to entertain others. Take their dark days and turn them positive and just make them laugh. So I decided, you know, in the early stages, back when there was MySpace, I formulated a group. It was called Wild Boys Entertainment. And it was with my friends in my old neighborhood out here in Kingsbridge in the Bronx. And we replicated not only what Johnny Knoxville and Jackass did, but also like skits way before skits was a thing. Like we started off on a VHS, like cameras that were like shooting like 240p. Like
Crazy.
it was that bad of a quality.
240p, we had 1080p, which is crazy. I'm listening.
240 at the time was 1080.
Right,
You know?
right,
So
right,
it was
right.
looking crisp for
Right,
us.
right.
And we took that far, and then of course everyone went their own separate ways. I started working at Starbucks. I met a good friend named Anthony, and we started a brand called AJTV, which on his side, the 8 was for his name, his nickname, 8 Man, and then the J was for me, Joselito, JR. And we just started building this brand from 2011 all the way up until where it is now. Unfortunately, again, we went separate ways as far as the business. So he, decided to do other things, and which was respected on my end, and I continued with the brand. So
How long has it been since you separated from the
probably
brand?
like 4 or 5 years now.
4 or 5 years. Okay. I mean, this is, I guess, a great point I want to speak on now. So in those 4 or 5 years, you've also acquired things like No Entiendo show,
Yeah.
right? In these 4 or 5 years, I think things have changed for you where you've been able to branch off and do other things on top of continue to doing with AJTV.
Yeah.
So how did that workload feel initially when you felt like, okay, I got to respect what he's saying. He's going to go his way. But what did that feel like for you? One, as a friend, right? Because that's a friend. But two, the workload.
Well, basically, I felt when we did separate, like, of course it hurt because it was like someone that I was working with closely and we had that great chemistry on camera. And, together we were like a dynamic duo making this happen. And of course, I respected again how he felt and the change and shift of things. And it was nothing different on the workload because I was already acquiring the workload. For the most part, majority of what went into like marketing or putting things together, like from the shooting and the editing, like I was doing a great majority of it. So the workload wasn't any different.
Copy.
It was just missing that chemistry, that
Right.
like
Your mans.
that funny,
Right,
yeah,
right,
you
right.
know what I'm saying?
Right. So how do you transition there, bro? Like, because here I think this is a message for the camera, right? Sometimes good things go other ways. You know what I mean? Like it's unfortunate that we have a vision, but the picture's not depicted till you get there. Like the people you start with, not necessarily the people that you finish with. And that's nothing wrong because you don't know who you're supposed to meet at their start line. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
because of what you're doing, bro, I know you've been able to help a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
But what was that initial like transitional piece? I guess here's a piece I want to say, right?
Go ahead.
me looking at content, be a student, guys, be a student. That's one of the stuff that you did 11 years ago, old school, right? Where you dropped a piece, it was awkward moments, right? It's one of your clips where you dropped a piece of chicken, right, on the floor. You was at the KFC, or no, Kentucky Fried. What we call those?
The Kennedy Fried.
Kennedy Fried, right? You there, you dropped a piece of chicken, and then you're like, the awkward moment, like shit, it just fell, right? And that's that moment when your food falls, bro, and you're like, I'm gonna pick this up. There's a 3 second rule that we go by, right? Like, I'm gonna grab this right now. It's fresh enough 3 seconds where I'm still gonna eat it because I picked myself up fast enough. That moment when you had to go separate ways, did it feel the same way where it's like, it fell, but I can't dwell. Like, we going separate ways, but I can't let this sit down for too long. I gotta pick myself back up.
Yeah, like it felt like, okay, we separated, but I wasn't gonna let this brand die. It was by any means necessary. If it was gonna die, it's gonna die with me. Like, God would have to call my number for this to like die down. So, and I've always had that passion with anything that I do. Like, once I'm like passionate about something, I'm gonna go all the way, 1,000%. No matter, I don't care about whether the results are not, showing up at fast enough, or I might have a down day not, but we're still gonna keep making this happen. Like, you could laugh at me, you could downplay it all you want, but I'm gonna take that fuel of whatever is being thrown at me negatively, and I'm gonna turn that positive, and I'm gonna show y'all this is gonna work. And that's another one of my fuels for my fires. Like, not only just entertaining, but I like a good challenge. Yeah, tell me that this ain't gonna work, or tell me what you're doing is corny, or this and the third. All right, give me some time. Let's see if you have that same energy. And I've been grateful to show those people that if you put in the time, you put in the effort, things will blossom to where you want it to be. And those same people that have downplayed it from that very beginning have had to swallow their words.
Ain't nothing better than success, right? The sweetest revenge. What did Pac say? We don't even got to know the lyrics. But point is, what wires you that way though? Like, what in you? What gives you that chip on your shoulder that goes, "Oh, you clowning? Oh, you don't think I am? Watch me." Where did you get this ability to stay this consistent?
I don't know. It's just built in me, and I also do I take a lot of time on the side to, listen to motivational speakers, and I also get knowledge there, and it's just one of those things. It's just like we were born in this life to make something of ourselves, to create an impact, to leave a legacy. Why die normal? Why not go all out with this one life that you have to make things happen, to not only better your life but better the life of your family? Like, your parents, some of us come from third world countries, right? Our parents didn't bring us to the States out here to just flop and not make something greater of ourselves. We don't want to continue that same cycle where we get here, we don't amount to anything greater. We probably end up having kids, and then them kids, you try to push them to be better than you. Why not show them, or not, whether you have kids or not? Let's break it down in two forms. Why not show your family, or if you're the type that had kids, why not show them the inspiration of what greatness can become of you if you put in the work, so that we can break that cycle? And you got to take advantage. Like, we living in the land of opportunity.
Facts.
The opportunities, you got to make them. You can't expect them to come to you. And this is why I've been fueled that way. It's like, I'm gonna make the opportunity. I'm gonna go in the lane that I have to build what I'm working towards, and nobody's gonna stop me. I don't care like what it takes. Bruh, in my line of making things happen, there's been times where I've had like $10 in my bank account, and I gotta smile and still put on a performance and create this content that everyone's has been able to enjoy, or has gone viral, and everyone's just loved it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but nobody sees that dark side. Nobody sees the struggles. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody sees the times where I almost felt like giving up, or damn, like I didn't want to do it today, or this and that third. Like, nah, I'm still here, and it's always gonna be that way. Like, regardless of the fact, I know that when my time comes, when the great one above calls, I know that I did everything that I had to do to establish my brands, to, leave a mark in the world. Just, I've been fortunate with the platforms that I've had to inspire others. Even before others have began to take a piece of the pie of what it is today as far as content creators. I had content creators come up to me all the time and say, yo, y'all the reasons why this brand is the reason why I started doing this. And it's a great feeling. And I'm always humble and grateful for that.
Right.
I never take it as I'm better than the next man, or like, I'm
Right,
gonna
right,
be
right.
cocky. Like, nah,
Right.
it's not like that. You know what I'm saying?
To speak on that, it's a lot of, you won't have to name them. I just know I've seen skits early on from your stuff. I'm like, oh, you had skits with these people mad years ago. You know what I'm saying? And to see them go and become household names in the space as well, there's merit to what you're saying. There's receipts to what you're saying. And to know that you own that, right? Have you ever felt like anyone's tried to use your platform or use your level of expertise to exploit what you do? Like take advantage?
Oh, I mean, hey, listen, it comes with the territory of things. I've had people around me that, would be considered friends, go out their way to tarnish my name or put me on blast on social media. I've always remembered that, just because they just saw me excelling and, not really trying to cut corners. Like, I'm really about making things happen. And sometimes when you're making things happen, people do, they feel a certain type of way. They get jealous, or they feel like you're running with something that they might have thought of that they didn't put in their time to do on their end. And it's like, we're all working as a unit to make it to the bigger picture. Let's work collectively. Let's not work against each other. There shouldn't be a reason why you should feel some type of way about the next man or woman that's making things happen within your circle, within your niche of people. Why don't we unify and say, okay, if that's the talent right there, if that's the one, we gonna do whatever it takes to get that person to the top, and he gonna take care of us when this is all set in stone. You know what I'm saying? Like, and unfortunately, we live in that mentality,
In the barrel.
yeah, crabs in the barrel, and it's like you don't see the bigger picture. You're just seeing what you assume to be negative,
Right.
and you take it upon yourself to lash out on that person. You know what I'm saying? And it's not cool.
This is so interesting, man. From a man that works so hard and what he does, is it ever feel like, you said it, times of like wanting to stop or having $10? The paradox of like the two strings pulling you same way, where going viral and then having no funds. Have you ever had that moment? Like, are you at a viral moment but you're at your lowest financially?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's happened in the earlier years, and it's like you really like y'all out there enjoying the content, but I'm out here struggling. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Right.
gotta wait for the next check to hit for me to be able to survive. But again, a lot of people only see the beauty of what goes viral or the success of a person when they're seeing them out there doing their thing, but they don't see the struggles, because that's one thing that does not get shown. So, I'm pretty sure, just like any other celebrity, public figure, someone of a great presence, we've all faced our struggles. We to this day, sometimes it's probably not financially. Mental health is big too.
Huge.
Sometimes you may wake up depressed,
Huge.
or because this, that, and the third happened.
Real.
But you got to put up a happy face. You got to still create that movie. You still got to attend that show, that venue, and put up this great smile. And hey, everything is good. I mean, look at all that, all the great people we've lost throughout the time because of
Facts.
mental health.
That's a fact. You know, as we speaking on mental health, Robin Williams was one of the ones that was the most shocking to me. The man who made the world laugh was going through the most. In your times where you ever feel like you're battling this, because here's what I noticed, bro. You're on social media. You pretty much are social media, dog. Like, if you're not doing it, you working on the back end of somebody else doing it, stuff like that, all right? Is there anyone in your corner or a group of people that if you have your down days and when you have your down days, that's a number you can call? Like, is that line still available for you?
Oh yeah, yeah. And I have it's very small.
Okay.
Probably like 2 or 3 people that actually, go out their way. But if they'll notice like a little gap within me posting or things not being normal, they'll hit that line and say, "Hey, man,
Hey.
what's going on? We got to get back to the groove of things and make things happen." So I'm very grateful for those friends in my circle.
Okay. You said something earlier that was huge. You said you got to go make the opportunity. Can you give us an example? Of course, right now, we'll talk about. You just interviewed one of my boys, Nadi. What up, baby? You heard? Just saw you on Entiendo TV show, which is fire, right? But give me an example of you creating an opportunity today, like sits a reward for you that you knew you had to go out your way and go create because it wasn't coming to you.
All right, so in the earlier years, when I started the brand, AJTV, I had to go out my way to basically create marketing tactics to get the exposure that we needed. So there were certain moments where back when on the earlier stages of Facebook, I was creating fan imitation pages of these celebrities and artists, and I would comment under their direct post that they just posted and say, "Hey, go check out this channel. These are my guys." I went as far as
That's
yeah.
crazy. Wait. To make sure I'm getting this right, right? It's as if I would create a AJTV page myself that looks like yours, but comment on that page like, "Yo, go follow my boy Rob in the Living Room Podcast. His joint is fire." Because to the naked eye, they think it's you.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's insane. How much time did that take, though?
I mean seconds. You know what I'm saying? Like
Bro,
I was on it.
You was already on it.
I
Wow.
was also creating flyers on
Crazy.
where it was me saying I'm missing. Oh no, I was creating flyers where it was like we're missing our pigeon. We have a lost pigeon, and we're trying to find this pigeon. So we created this missing pigeon
Listen, the
flyer.
pigeon is crazy.
And we would go on the trains here in New York City and
Mm-hmm.
post them on each cart. I don't know, like there's like 7 or 12 carts a train.
Right.
And every cart would get hit with like 4 flies. And we would do this religiously every month, like at least twice.
Because every pigeon looks the same. I was like,
And we would have all our social media.
so people was hitting up the line and be like, "Yo,
Oh,
we
yeah.
found the pigeon."
Yeah, there's people that would take a picture with a pigeon and send that in and say, "Is this the one?" Yeah.
That's genius though.
Yeah, and nobody, that was us doing it. Nobody thought of that. So we did that. Right?
Thinking outside the box for real though.
Yeah.
Genius.
And then, other challenges where it's like our first video that really went viral was posted on World Star Hip Hop. Shout out to World Star. I woke up one morning, 2 a.m., right before I had to go to work, and I just wrote an email to them. I submitted the video. 10 minutes after that email, they wrote back, and they were like, "Where's the video? Send it in."
At 2 a.m. you send this video.
At 2 a.m.
In 10 minutes they responded at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Somebody's always up, bro. Somebody's always up, bro. They say the person in the penthouse got the lights on, bro.
Yeah. So they responded. I sent the video in. 10 minutes after that, videos posted on World Star, and overnight, just blowing up.
History after that. What if do you remember what video that was and what numbers did it do?
I don't know if it was either our Real Niggas series or No Homo those series. One of those two. I just don't remember which one it was, and it just went super viral, and we just kept at it ever since. Ever since then, just kept submitting. Every time we had a new video, a new YouTube video, YouTube skit rather say, we would just submit. And what I going back to the whole creating the opportunity, it didn't matter if we got rejected. It's all about making the attempt to begin with, and continuing. Even if they're closing the door on you, still try to find a way to open it and to try to get yourself in there. J. Cole, let's use him as an example. How many times have wait. How many times has he had to stay outside waiting on Jay-Z trying to submit his CD? Until one day Jay-Z said, "Okay, let me."
That's a fact. Shout out to Cole. Yo, Cole, one day when you watch this interview, we still want you still top 3, you heard? Forget about anybody's going on. I forgive your apology, you heard? You still to go in my book, you heard? We were just talking about J. Cole earlier. That's why his reaction is that.
It's like those are perfect opportunities. Oh no, those are perfect examples
For
of
sure.
creating the opportunity.
You know what I love about what you're saying about that even more too? Which is I think a lot of us forget about this component. Not only did J. Cole get signed by the greatest of our generation, right? It was by Hove. He didn't necessarily wait on Hove to become J. Cole. Like me being a person that watched his journey, you would think like, yo, you got signed by Hove, it's over. I should it's automatically gotta go. And Cole had to create his own lane because he wasn't the hottest out of Drake and them.
Yeah.
You seen him keep coming and, which is another point. Like just because you're given the opportunity, you don't stop doing what you're doing to get there.
Yep. And just shifting it a little bit. Ambition and drive, the consistency and the discipline of all of that to keep going, even when, again, going back to what we said earlier, even when you don't feel like it. A lot of people have great ideas, but they don't have the longevity to keep going and continue to make that into something big or continue to maintain it, and they stop short halfway, and those ideas just die with them. That brand just becomes a has-been. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that's very important. When you have an idea, you think it's great, go push it all the way. Go 1,000. When it builds to where you need to build it to, continue to maintain it and continue to push it. Don't let it die out. Hey, listen, this mic here, right? This whole system here, the cameras that are here, they were once somebody's idea.
That's a fact.
Had they stopped and not kept pushing forward, we wouldn't have the accessibility to enjoy or utilize these things.
That's a, I think some people, it don't have to be the most deep. That's so profound to know that everything was a thought for real. The chair that we're sitting on right now, well, somebody thought of this chair and continued enough till it let me and you sit in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Basically.
Like, it's literally that, which is like, if we just, this is why I'm super grateful and blessed for anybody who watches this episode, take the time to watch. This was a thought of mine. And I didn't know I was going to have JR on my show. Not the man that I watched on Vine and all this kind of, trying to figure out where I know him from. Like, I know I've seen him go before. But I knew I wanted to have conversations with people who are credible in their field, or good people, and have stories that match up to their successes, right? Because him giving that example, there's a story to back that. Doing what you're doing in English, skits, all this kind of stuff, to then pivot and say, yo, I'm going to start this show in Spanish. Right? Like, and not wanting to be the person to do it, right? Can you give us that story? Well, what sparks you to say, all right, I'm already doing enough, but I got this idea of this show that I can't let die. Let's talk about No Entiendo show.
I started analyzing the market, and I seen that a lot of people were doing these street interview shows in English, but there was hardly a Hispanic kind of group of niche of people doing it for our culture, like just Hispanics all over, especially in this form. So I decided to take it upon myself to create that lane where there was going to be this show called, at first it was going to be called Preguntas.
I'm glad you went with No Entiendo, because then you
No,
get.
wait.
Go
Let me tell
ahead.
you the
My
story behind
fault.
that.
My
My
fault.
friend had pitched the idea to give me that name, No Entiendo, and that's where I got it from. So he came in clutch. Romel, shout outs to him.
Shout out to the homie.
Yeah, so he gave me the name No Entiendo Show, or No Entiendo.
Right.
And I just added the
For
show.
sure.
So I went ahead and made that a thing. I created the logos and everything. Then I had a host in mind, but unfortunately, the host declined because they didn't want that popularity. They didn't want all that fame, that attention. So I said, okay, let me think of another way to do this. And then I thought of myself, right? I said, okay, I got the time. My Spanish wasn't 100% at that time. Like I still have those battles every now and then. That sometimes my Spanish will be 100%, and the other times it'll be a little rusty.
Right.
But I said, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try it. Had a lot of people downplaying that this wasn't gonna be successful. I said, okay, I like that. I'm gonna take that energy and I'm gonna show y'all this is gonna be a thing. I started doing it from zero. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat. Started putting in the pain. 2 years later, I want to say we in this summer it'll be 2 years. 2 years later, it created this big popular show that everybody loves. That it went from people not wanting to be a guest on it to people hitting me up on the regular. Yo, I want to be interviewed next.
Right.
Yo, I need it.
Right.
And it just became this thing that it went global. It's not just here in the United States. This is in Colombia, El Salvador, Venezuela, all Latin countries, and all over other international countries and states where people speak Spanish. They've grown to love it. And the best thing about it is that I also have subtitles. So if you don't know Spanish, you're gonna learn to, hold on. I got subtitles for those that don't understand Spanish. They can still read the subtitles in English,
Correct.
and get an understanding of what's going on. So that was beautiful within there, and it's just been this great thing ever since. Since the beginning till now, it has been 3 episodes a week.
Sick.
Just putting in that content, and just I'm very grateful for everyone who's loved the show from the beginning to where it is now, and continues to show love, and they look forward to it every single. I've gone live a lot of times, and people just shown their just love for the show. I've talked to people all over in different countries that I wouldn't expect to come across the show. It's just been beautiful.
That's amazing, bro. And that's a testament to just being an example of the word you're giving. Because I think this is great for your fans to hear as well, or like the people who follow you and admire your work. It's 3 episodes a week. What's the back end process for that? How long does it take you?
Yeah, let me tell you. So, putting together what we call the bed, just the blueprint of just the interview itself, takes about 30, 45 minutes. Now, the most time consuming outside of that is putting these memes where they need to be. Now, I'm watching podcasts. I'm watching like 5 to 8 podcasts. These are like an hour long. So I'm watching them in full, clipping the moments that will be suitable for where they need to be for this particular interview, for each interview to be exact. And you want to assume that's at least 15 hours, 20 hours a week minimum, just doing that process. The easy part is putting the interview together as a skeleton without that. But then filling it up with the fats, the skin, and all that to make the body, that's where it gets crazy. And there's a science to it. It's not just putting any meme anywhere. It has to make sense. I'm all about quality. I'm all about putting together something great that's gonna not only look good, but people will actually enjoy, and they'll be able to have It'll have replay value. It's not one of those things that they'll watch to right now, forget about it tomorrow, and it is what it is. It's just that viral moment for right then and there. Nah, we're trying to keep this going. We want you to look back at this like, or I want you to look back at this like it's an Aventura song that you just want, you got to replay again, you know?
Right.
You 10, 20 years later.
This is my song still, yeah, right.
You know, and it's great because I've been fortunate to have that happen not only with this show but also the skits. A lot of the content that I put, even outside the skits, has just been like those replayable, timeless classics.
How do you continue to do that? Like, you saying there's a science. I guess it's hard to explain what the science is, right? But how did you find that? Is it because of the trial and error? Is it because you spent so much time, I think, in your early years consuming so much content that you kind of are the chef in the kitchen giving the meals as well while you're eating the food? You know what I mean? Like, how did you find out a form? Because you got what? Collectively on YouTube, AJTV's over 100 subs, right? 100,000 subscribers. No Entiendo's over 96,000 or something like that, I believe. On Instagram.
On Instagram, 96,000, 115,000 on TikTok. So, like, it's one of those things where it's like you see you're doing this on the regular. So you're trying to innovate and in that time of you doing this, like nobody wants to stay the same.
Right.
So if you're doing something every single day for the most part, or you're in the field doing it a lot repeatedly, you're gonna want to get better. You're gonna want to improve. Why not go forward instead of going backwards? You know, everybody, you know, has their own way of doing things. I like to think that I'm gonna take my time to create a solid project, as opposed to the next person who's just thinking about going viral, or just thinking, oh, I'm gonna just do whatever. You don't need to go that extra hard to do it. Nah, you see, there's a difference. I take pride in doing what I do. Like, I love it. I want you to enjoy it just as much as I love making it happen. So why not take the time and energy to create something great, as opposed to just putting anything together, and then longevity, you're gonna look back and say, damn, I wish I could have done this differently, or I would have taken my time here, or you might end up where you might not. Remember, everybody's always watching, right? Somebody out there is gonna discover the work that I'm doing and say, I like this. This guy knows what he's doing. This guy's just not a content creator, a social media influencer. Nah, this guy has what it takes to come on the big screen or take on this business and do what he has to do. And that's what I'm gonna show, you know, those big people in suits that are watching. But I'm also going to entertain my fans and give them something deserving. You know, I'm not gonna give you just any old mismatched stuff and just put it out there. I'm not gonna feel right. I'm not taking all this time to make this content to just put out whatever. Now I'm gonna give you something solid. When you watching this, you're gonna think this joint is Steven Spielberg,
Right, right.
Bay. Like, I'm gonna put in that pain to make it solid, and it's gonna show. You're gonna put me up against everybody else that you probably watch and say, man, this guy really. You can tell he takes the time to put the stuff together in this fashion, and you're gonna enjoy it.
Bro, and it's facts, because truly stumbling upon your content. Like, no, I'm gonna be honest here. Knowing who you were, after meeting you at the game, I was like, yo, and then Kenny, shout out to Kenny.
Yeah.
They just sent me recently a joint of yours, because you know you get caught up on social media.
Yeah.
And you saying that, like catching the memes or when you put it and when, I was like, damn, that was sharp and funny as hell. And I didn't know the process of that. Like, I didn't know what it took it was hours of consuming podcasts, or so the appreciation of the hours it takes for you to give me 60 seconds of heat, at least for a clip on Instagram itself, besides the show, is impeccable. So I appreciate that, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Here's another question I have, right? Because the work that you put, you said off camera, I'll say here, that you had a goal. You started working at Starbucks when you created your content and set a goal to say, by the time I'm 30, I want to be able to be do everything for myself.
Yeah.
How did you map out that goal? And when it was accomplished, how'd you feel?
Everything is in the power of manifestation. So I manifested this blueprint to make it what it is at that time when I was 30. So I pushed for it. I did everything I had to do. Networking, the organization of getting these amount of content done at this amount of time. You know, emailing who I had to email, making those connections, because in life it's all about connections. It's not what you know all the time, it's who you know. So I was doing this, but I've always been this person that has had this great aura of just meeting the right people and connecting with the right people. And just that within just me having that drive and that motivation to make things happen all played along in that fashion where I was able to accomplish this. Like, going back to, let's talk about accomplishments. Let's talk about accomplishments. The YouTube plaque, over 100,000 subscribers. I remember setting a goal that I wanted to get that plaque. And I told everyone in my team, we gonna make that happen by any means. And I put in the pain with everybody else to make that happen. And it was just, we doing 2-3 skits, through YouTube skits. So we gonna tell people to subscribe. We gonna do every effort that it took to make it happen, and we completed that. Now it goes back to rewinding with what you just asked me. The same thing happened to me being 30 and quote unquote retiring, not having a 9 to 5.
Right.
I put in the pain. I connected with the right people. I put in the amount of content needed. I invested in the areas that I had to, cameras, the marketing, everything, to connect the dots and make it happen.
No, and let me tell you one thing that was extremely impressive about JR when he walks in here. We've magic. Let me just tell you something right now. Here's a message. When there's something beautiful supposed to happen, something is going to try to mess that up, regardless of what. We got narrative fanning down this other camera in the midst of us getting this interview down when the wind blowing of the window hitting, the kids talking outside, and we are locked in here. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta stay focused, bro. So I say that to say because you're speaking in a testament of the situation when it's happening. What I was gonna say is, what's super impressive about JR, he walks in and goes, yo, is that the A7? I don't even know cameras like that, y'all. When my man spit cameras, is that the A75, J567? I'm like, damn, he knows what we shooting with. But here's what I want to tell you. Sometimes you gotta pay the price. You gotta pay the price. Like, these things are not.
They're not cheap.
They're not cheap. So even that, not having backing to say, yo, what it costs and paying, what makes you go, because I think that's what some people see now, like the investment is not little, and what if it doesn't work out? I paid X amount, over $10,000+ in all my equipment, in my marketing, all this. What if it doesn't work out? What do you say to someone with that mindset?
You can't think that it's not gonna work out. You gotta always have that positive mindset. Instead of saying it's not gonna work or what if it doesn't work out, nah, it's gonna work out. You're gonna go above and beyond. If you're truly passionate about what it is that you are pursuing, you're gonna go 100%, 1,000, at all costs. Because it's like that little picture that they have where it's like the miner.
Chipping at the goal.
Yeah. You never know how close you are to really breaking through and being successful, but you let the little, well, I don't got this, or this is bothering me today, and you stop, and now you just messed up your whole process. You ain't worked this hard or begin to work this hard to have those negative thoughts and give up along the way, or give up before you even started. I'll tell you a story. I had this one incident talking about cameras. I had a credit card at that time, right?
Yeah, I can tell you about to get
I,
deeper.
I had a credit card at that time, bro. I think my max limit was 3,000, and I think I only had like 1,000 available. I had to buy one of these cameras, right?
Right.
This camera was like 3,500, the one that I
Facts.
wanted
The big boy
to
joints.
boost the quality of the content.
Right.
Yo, I put the camera in the cart. I did a little prayer. I put in the numbers of that card and I pressed continue with purchase. That joint started circling. I'm over there like, shit, I don't know if this is gonna work. I only got 1,000 left, right?
We gotta push it to the limit.
And that shit said, your order has been processed.
It's lit.
And it went through.
We up.
We maxed out that card, overmaxed it. And that's an example of, yo, even when you don't got it, you gonna find a way to make it happen.
Nah,
And
that's
I
crazy.
used that camera to create a lot of the content that you're seeing today. That was one of my second or third cameras ever. But this was at the time where 4K was boosting. It was brand new to the economy. And like this line of camera was the line to have.
Right. Damn. Bro, look, man. We listen. We're not financial advisors, right? Like we just giving stories of how we got to where we got, right? And JR getting to where he got to get to. Because trust me, when you in the trenches, you are in the trenches. There's a conversation that I kind of want to have with you, right? Like knowing your timing. I introduced him as JR Worldstar. That's on his title. Clearly, that he does some work with Worldstar. But I think the story of how you decided to reach out to them is very impactful. If you want to share light on that, you can, because that's another testament of you creating your opportunity, but your timing being a little different.
Yeah, I mean, it all started with the initial email of just having our content try to get posted on the platform. Started there, then it grew a relation where, you know, a lot of the posters at the time grew a likeness to the content that we were producing, and they would post us from time to time. Not every piece of content, but time to time. And then one day, I went out my way to, connect with one of the guys there, and asked them if I could be involved in a project that they were pursuing. And I'm very knowledgeable behind the camera and in front of it, so I went out my way to shoot this event for them, and I did great with it. When I came back, on my way back on the plane, I wrote an email to the CEO at the time, and
Crazy.
I basically let him know how great I felt, being here, and thanking him for the opportunity to capture these moments for them and put it together. And at the same time, I asked him for a permanent position. And at the time, there was nothing for me. And, he let me know, I mean, if something comes up in the future, I'll get back to you. And you know how that is. They
That's a
tell
polite
you.
way of saying no, right? Like, I'll get back to you, right?
So then 3 months later, he reached out. And he gave me that opportunity to prove myself. And it was not only him, but my good friend, his name is Smooth, who's also part of Worldstar, also vouched for me and put in the word saying, no, he's a good guy. His work ethic is up to par, and I think he'll be a great asset. And made it happen. Like, that opportunity came to me, and I ran with it. It was like carrying the Olympic torch. I was, hey, we gonna make it happen. And I proved myself that not only I was able to, do what was required, but also exceed their expectations, and I've been here ever since.
You know, I think there's so many messages to your story. Let me tell you what that reminds me of, right? Because you saying being a person that you listen to motivational speeches and stuff like that, you got to tap into the mind for real because you got to try to overpower negative thoughts with yourself. Good thoughts and stuff like that is huge. But Tony Robbins, right? The great Tony Robbins, some people don't know, Jim Rohn is like in the personal development space is like the guy, right?
Yeah.
Jim Rohn also wrote him a letter. He went to one of his events and was like, I'm so fascinated by what this man is doing that I will go and write a letter until they respond. And I'll work for free to just be under the umbrella of this man to then become Tony Robbins. You to be a kid posting, sending information at 2 a.m. just to get posted on WorldStar, then circle back and then reach out and say, hey, I want a position here. It's a complete full circle moment. It talks about your work ethic, your courage, your desire, your ambition. Blown away, bro, about what you do. And honestly, excited for what's to come for you, bro.
Yeah, like a lot of people don't know, like it ain't just I juggle a lot of different hats. I do a lot a lot.
Right,
You know, and
right.
it's like it's not easy, you know what I'm saying? But I'm still here because, I'm passionate about what I do. I like it's just within me the drive. A lot of the going back to the YouTube days, and I gotta highlight this. A lot of the, you know, we as the brand AJTV, let's go back to that. We were the reason why a lot of these content creators today, social media influencers, are doing what they're doing. That's out here in New York. Because we started the wave. You know, before there was Instagram and everything, it was YouTube,
It's a fact.
and we were prime on YouTube, just making things happen. And I'm very grateful, and I'm very pleased to see everyone making something great of themselves, and continuing to take what we started here and growing it on their side and creating awesome moments in their life where they could be able to feed their families and do big things and just capitalize off of social media and just give people the same entertainment value that we started doing this for.
Right.
So it's dope. Like shout outs to everyone out there. You know,
Fire, bro. Honestly, I didn't know. And this is another example of do good work, build good relationships. You linked with good people, bro. Like your story, you sitting here giving us the timing of the story, bro. You have no idea. I was banging my head earlier this week, like how do I make my YouTube grow faster and do this and do that? And not that you gave me the tactics and the tricks, you gave me what it is, put in the pain. All
yeah,
right? We gotta put in the pain. But I'm sitting next to someone who literally, it's special because shout out to Ed Milet, shout out to Ed Milet was the podcast I listened to the most, right? I didn't start a podcast to say, yo, I got a podcast, and because I got a podcast, with the world is everyone has a podcast, but not everybody has substance. Not everybody has impact. Not everybody has a purpose. So just because they were doing it doesn't allow me to say, just because everybody's doing it, I'm not gonna do it. When someone like JR, you've been in this bitch for 10 plus years. Watching it go and wave, and this works here and that works there, and still making it happen today, bro. Appreciate you, champ. For real.
no, thank you, thank you.
Appreciate you, champ.
And highlighting, spinning back a little bit to this day. Don't be afraid to invest. Continue investing. You got to invest in yourself. Nobody's gonna do this for free. No one's gonna hand it to you. No one's gonna. That opportunity is not gonna knock on the door. You gotta, again, walk out that door, make that opportunity happen for yourself. You gotta, again, invest in yourself. Take the money that you're making in your 9 to 5 to fuel your 5 to 9. And even once you break that barrier of the 9 to 5, continue to invest in your brand, whether the brand is you as a person or a business. You gotta continue investing because the more you invest, the more you stay in people's eyes, the more you stay in people's ears, the more your business or your brand continues to blossom. You know, and I'm also gonna highlight another thing. You could throw it in here. JD Consuflo is
My
one of our
brother.
good friends. I I got to give him credit. Me and him, we go way back, and to this day, we're tight. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? He was the inspiration too, as to me wanting to make things happen and go even further because I was with him in the beginning, seeing all the attention, all the magnitude of just how successful he was, and I was like, yo, I want this too.
Fire, dog.
And
Fire.
I utilize that as inspiration to also fuel the drive at that time to make things happen. Instead of sometimes it's good to be inspired by your friends and not be a hater, not be one that goes, man, look at this guy. Nah, I actually was very proud of what he was doing, acknowledged what he was doing,
Right.
and I said, I'm gonna make it happen too. And I put in that pain. I didn't ask for no handout. I could have been another person. Yo, help me. Did it? Nah. I was like, all right, I'm gonna figure it out in my own lane. I see what you're doing. It's dope. I'm gonna be on that same level with you. Let me spin the block. Let me make it happen. And now at the table, we all eating together.
That's a fact, bro. Super fire, bro. Final question I have for you, bro. How do you know to continuously know to transform and rebrand yourself? Like, how are you able to do that?
I'm gonna be honest, it comes naturally. Like it's just like I was even surprised myself. People have come up, yo, you were able to rebrand into Spanish.
Right.
You went from English to Spanish. Now you over here too,
All right.
and it's like, bro, like you could have stayed behind. You could have stayed with the times, or you could have just stayed in one position, one platform, and that
And
was
that was
it.
it.
But nah, it's like with anything, you want to innovate, right? Like you don't want to stay the same, and doing the same old thing, and that's how you continue to use that as leverage to continue growing in other areas, because the more you can apply yourself in other different scenarios, people get to see your range, and it's not stuck in just one thing. They're not gonna typecast you as, oh, you just that funny guy right here. Oh nah, this guy Jr. There's the funny side to him. There's the business side to him. He went from the English market to the Spanish market. Now he's versatile. I can have the best of both worlds now. Now the next step is, building. I'll lay it out here. Building a like a rock nation of what is the entertainment world, right?
Fire.
Like to give other actors and actresses, social media influencers, all that, the opportunity to get the exposure that they need. Because one thing that you know is a problem. There's a lot of talent out there that goes unnoticed. There's a lot of talent where people don't give the chance to. People are all focused on numbers. You could have 500,000 followers. That doesn't mean you're talented. There's people out there that have under 100 followers, but are talented as hell. But they won't get that opportunity because society has it gridlocked in this. Well, if you don't have a following, you're no good. And that's the difference between me and them. I give opportunity to those people that they wouldn't even look on, or they'll pass on. Like it's not a numbers game when it comes to talent. Talent comes from different shapes, forms, and sizes. You know what I'm saying? Don't just lock it in based off of numbers. It's not like that.
That's a big gem, bro. You know, and saying this humbly, this is gonna be one of the biggest platforms in America, around the globe, and all. We got the gyms early, right? Like numbers wise, we would say, right? Like, because for me, it's knowing that we could rub shoulders with people who are impactful and care about touching the people around them. You know what I'm saying? Joy, this was amazing, bro. This conversation here was incredible. I appreciate you sharing everything you did. Let these people know where they can find you. You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean, on Instagram, you can look me up. It's your boy JR with 2 R's in your, and you'll just see everything there. Like I'm just give you just one,
This guy's everywhere, but give him the main source so we can find him, bro. Genuinely, if you got this far and you haven't subscribed before he kept going, here go one more time to do what helps us to help you. Thank you so much for tuning in. JR, again, bro. Appreciate that conversation, bro. Another one in the books. We caught another. Shout out the narrative in the back, fanning the camera so this joint can stay on. Yo, we appreciate y'all. Y'all already know. Love, man.
all right, man.
Yeah, my boy. Let me get a pound.